So hey, welcome back to the channel. I want to talk to you a little bit about two lenses that I purchased recently that maybe I'm just going to advise you to stay clear of. The first lens that I got for the Fuji system was the 10 to 18 2.8 from Sigma, and it's a great lens. It's nice and sharp. It's so small, 2.8, good focal range, all this and that. It's just awesome. As far as the build quality and all that stuff is great, but the reason I bought that lens was for video, and I thought that I could use it for vlogging, as much vlogging as I do, but you know, just for general video use. And what I forgot about the Fuji system is anything less than 16 millimeters just gets too wobbly in the corners and stuff. The in-body image stabilization just can't handle anything, you know, below 16 millimeters, which is a 24 millimeter equivalent. And because I was just going to use that lens for just a straight up video lens, a walk around lens, and an everyday lens, I just couldn't justify keeping it. You know, if you want to get that lens for, you know, ultra wide shots or landscape photography or astrophotography or anything like that, I'm sure it'd be great for, but for my purposes, for video uses, for walk around footage, it just didn't seem that it wasn't going to fit the bill. So I went ahead and sent that back, and we'll probably wind up getting either the 16 to 50 kit lens that usually comes with the Fuji cameras, or the 18 to 50 whatever Sigma lens, which is just a great lens. I wish it's just a little bit narrow, a little bit tight on the wide end though, but I'm still deciding that. The other lens I got was the 18 to 135 Sony, and that's the lens that I wound up taking to the football game last time. Oh, man, I watched a ton of reviews on that, and everybody's talking about how sharp it was and how great it was, and you know, for the price it's this, or for the price it's that. To be fair, it is a pretty decent lens for what it is. I took it to the football game and I was taking a few pictures pre-game, and I was thinking to myself, you know, this lens is pretty handy. You know, it goes from like 27 to 200. Everything was looking pretty good, pretty sharp. I was getting stuff in focus, just a normal Sony lens. The results of these photos were all pretty decent, and I was happy with them. But I wasn't all the way out to the, you know, the far reach of the telephoto range. But I got into the football game and started taking photos, you know, extended all the way out into you know, 135, which is 202 or whatever it is. I was like, whoa, man, these pictures are soft. I mean, soft, like bad. And it wasn't necessarily what was going on in the center of the frame, but when I got out to the edges, it just became pretty much unacceptable. Like I had these, I'll show you like one shot of these, a group shot of all the Palm girls, and out toward the edges of the frame, I mean, I can't even recognize who the girls are, that's how soft the lens is on the edges, extended all the way out. I should probably temper my expectations a little bit. I mean, it is a cheap lens, it is a kit lens, so I can't really expect that much. I really can't blame the lens all that much, because it is what it is. I mean, it's like $400 all-purpose zoom, you know, with a bad aperture range. I mean, obviously it's made to be as cheap as possible, so I really can't fault the lens itself, other than that's not the standard that I want. I think that if it comes down between that lens and my RX100 Mark 7, the RX100 Mark 7 lens is way better, way sharper, and if you're going to have full sunlight and everything, it's not going to make that much difference. And now you start getting in a little bit lower light situations, that all changes a little bit, but full daylight, RX100 Mark 7 lens is way better than that 18 to 135. I'm kind of in a search for another lens like that. Now, I did get a lot of good suggestions. The last video did about the kind of all-in-one zoom. But remember the criteria for the lens itself. It has to be below 4 inches. Now, if I could take just any lens that I wanted, you know, I would I would just take the Tamron 28 to 200 and be done with it, and take my 87 CR, and that would be plenty. That would be perfect. But the lens has to be, it's supposed to be 3 inches, but I think I can get anything below 4 inches in without much of a problem. And then also with that, you know, bigger lens like the Tamron, like the, you know, it's like 4.5 to 5 inches long. Like, I don't want to have to deal with all that. You know, it's a lot to deal with. It's a long ways to walk, you know, carrying a lens like that. You have it hanging off your side because you can't take a bag in. You know, it's kind of clunking around, you know, while you're walking through the crowd. It's a lot to deal with, and I don't want to deal with a larger lens like that. I'm kind of down between two lenses now. One, and I really want to try the Fuji out for game day, because I want to see how the autofocus does in that situation. But I'm thinking that this 16-80 will be pretty good, and that might be my choice. I don't know. Now, the good thing about this is with the XE5, I can use the 2x extender, which is get you down to 10 megapixels, but I'm not really 100% concerned about the megapixel part of it, because all these photos are just going up on social media anyway, no problems there. It's just how sharp is the lens going to be out to that? What is it going to look like when I get out the maximum extension and then crop in 2x? Like, what are my photos going to look like? I don't know. So I might go out and test that out a little bit later. And then the other thing that worries me about this lens is the video aspect. This is probably the worst video lens that I have. It's extremely shaky unless you're just holding it, I mean, rock solid. I mean, it is bad shaky. And then when you're zooming in and out, it loses focus real bad. It's just a bad video lens. And I don't know if the telephoto is long enough to get the video needs that I want. Or even at 120, is that going to be enough zoom for the video side of it? The video side of, you know, what I'm doing is not really that important. It's not, you know, that's not what I'm there to do. But it'll catch the video. You know, so I don't know. I might try this one out. Now, Fuji does also have an 18-135, but I watched some videos on it, of course, and most of the people were saying pretty much the same thing, that it's really soft when you get all the way out to the far end of the telephoto zoom. And that lens is like, I don't know, 7-8 years old, and it won't resolve a 40 megapixel. I mean, there's a lot of problems with it. And it's quite expensive for what it is. So I just decided that I wouldn't buy that lens. It just, I'm sure it's great. I just don't want to invest in that, basically. So that kind of is where I'm sitting at with the Fuji. I might go with Fuji, but I do have another lens coming in today, which is a 28-200 from Panasonic or Lumix. And I want to see how that lens works out. Like, the f-stop on it is terrible. It's like 4 to 7.1, which is absolutely bonkers crazy. But again, most of the photos are going to be taken in broad daylight. I'm not really concerned about separation or background, you know, the blur or bokeh or any of that kind of stuff. I don't care about any of that. I really just want in-focus, sharp photos. And maybe that lens will be all right. And plus, it has some tricks up its sleeves to get a little bit more zoom out of it as well. With the hybrid zoom functions for photo and video, so I might use those. But I have that lens coming in today, and I want to try it out maybe the next time. I don't know. I'm between that and this lens here, the 16-80. The things that worries me about the Panasonic and using the S9, there's no viewfinder. I've talked about this ad nauseum. It just sucks. It really does suck not to have a viewfinder. I really need the viewfinder to be able to tell what's going on with my camera, like where's the focus point. It's just easier to use for me with a viewfinder. But I'm going to be trying, you know, the problem is you hold the camera up, you hit the focus spot, you have it just right, and then you move the little camera just a little bit, and the next thing you know, it's not focused where you want it to focus. And there's a lot of issues going on with not having a viewfinder. I just don't like it, and that worries me a little bit, but I think that I might take that camera and just see what I get. I'm sure I'll get something in focus. I know my stabilization video will be a lot smoother than it has been, but I don't know, but that's where we're at today. Two lenses that I probably wouldn't suggest to anybody, depending on what your use case are. For me, the 10-18 Sigma, not a good walk around video lens. And the 18-135, you know, it's a budget option. It has a great zoom range. It's going to be really soft in some spots. The results just aren't going to be that great. So take it for what it's worth. Anyway, just my 2 cents for the day. If you have any more suggestions, leave them down in the comment section. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.